We now are even attracting private equity into the healthcare space.
Okay.
You know, there are many more investors who are putting up healthcare facilities. AR is now building a hospital. But for quite some time,
yes,
there was a big challenge because the capital was not available when you're setting up. Banks were not lending to healthcare because we are considered to be social enterprises. Social investing and impact investing were not what they are now globally.
Yes.
So there basically was no money available to fund ideas like ours. I was fortunate because having worked in the stock exchange, I was familiar with the fundraising from the public. So I knew that companies can do an IPO, companies can raise funds from members of the public, which is what we did. But because we could not seek a listing, because there was no Ibuka then, there was no startup listing then. The rules were very stringent for a listing.
Yes.
So we did a private placement. We got angel investors, you know, friends, in-laws. My in-laws invested their money. My friends invested their money. My colleagues invested their money. And we had this angel investor from the UK who put up 50% of the money we needed to start, of the 35 million shillings we needed to start off with then.
Wow.
So today, I can say it's much better
Yes.
than it was then, but we still have a lot of space to cover for lost time. Fortunately, we are improving healthcare financing because ultimately the key determinant is, can people afford to pay for healthcare? Because healthcare generally is expensive the world over. And the reason for it is that a lot of the inputs are imported. We don't make most of the medicines here. We certainly don't make a single ventilator here. We do not make dialysis machines here. So they're imported, they're bought in Forex, they're not cheap. You know, a single ventilator, a good quality ventilator, is something in the region of 2 to 6 million bob. One ICU ventilator for one patient. And an ICU patient needs one nurse. The ratio of staff to patients is 1 to 1. You need a personal nurse 24/7. Now that can't be cheap. So countries solve that problem by getting everybody to contribute while they are still healthy, so that the few members of the population who are sick at any given time can use the money from the entire population to access healthcare. That means universal health coverage. This is a time we are engaging a lot more seriously in that agenda.
Yes.
I served on the Economic Council for 6 years during President Kibaki's time. And at that time, healthcare was a footnote in the NESC agenda. You know?
Yes.
It was something we discussed after other serious economic business.
Yes.
Yeah. To the credit of the government, there was recognition that we needed to raise healthcare from a footnote to be among the key agendas, you know, to be as important as security, to be as important as economic growth. So I'm very pleased today when I see that when we talk about the 4 big agendas for the country, healthcare is right there among them. Because it's only if we are all contributing that those who are sick can afford healthcare, because they don't have to pay while they're sick. Because one of the worst tragedies to befall a family, and it bankrupts quite a lot of people here in the US, wherever, is that you are sick, so you can't work, and you have high bills to pay. So you have a double challenge. You can't work, and you need to spend a lot to get well. So the only way to solve that is all of us contribute, whether it's through NHIF or multiple schemes like our country where you have NHIF and private insurance. But the important thing is that we need a mandate like the one Obama was trying to create in the US, where everybody makes a contribution. Then we can pay for healthcare for those who become sick. And now it won't matter whether you go to a public facility or a private facility. You'll choose the facility to go to, and your money will follow you to that facility. That's one key pillar, that everybody needs to have money to pay. But of course, we also have to use the money well. So it is very important that healthcare be made as cost-effective as it can be.
Okay.
That we leverage technology, that we shift tasks, because the more qualified somebody is, the more expensive their time is. So we start shift so that jabs, vaccination is not done by people who spent 5 years in school, because that's going to be expensive. Yeah. So to the extent that we can shift tasks to lower cadres of staff who can safely do it, we can shift tasks from human beings to technology, so that of the money that will be available, because money is never enough, of the money that is available, we can then use it as effectively as possible.
Definitely.
That's a challenge we have for healthcare, and we've been trying to do our bit on the fundraising side,
Yes.
and in being a first in many ways in using technology. The hospital we founded is among the few that are paperless in the outpatient. We don't use paper. We are the only hospital, as far as I know, that has a digital menu. We do not have forms for patients to fill for meals. Food is ordered straight on tablets, and it queues in the kitchen.
Wow.
And is labeled like prescription medicine.
All right.
Why? Because to do a paper menu, get people to order on paper, then you need an analyst in the kitchen to work out how much ugali and how much sukuma wiki, and then you need to plan the plates.
Much.
Something as simple as serving food can be extremely complex in a hospital setting because of special diets and so on. So we are the only hospital, as far as I know, where the people who take your meal orders
digital utilization.
take the order on a tablet and bring you a meal with a barcode.
Wow, that's interesting, because actually our time is really running. So, and the issue of utilization of technology, you've touched on it.
Yes.
Quite important. You've been there
Yes.
for 25 years. Even the company itself has evolved, and now you are targeting, investing in healthcare system. That is your big agenda.
Yes.
Why Ibuka now, briefly? And what are the projections?
First, we promised our shareholders 25 years ago that one day we'd list their company on a stock exchange. So we want to take that step and keep a promise. Because these 500 people who bought shares in the company have trouble when they want to exit. We have to try and find a buyer for the shares. That's something the stock exchange does more efficiently than anyone else. It creates a market. So that's one. Two is that a 25-year-old is just about beginning their career, and so in many ways the hospital has been growing roots, the company has been growing roots. This is a time to really expand, and to do so you need a partner, because to raise more capital, to take the model to other towns and places. So that's why we are coming on board to create a market, to find a fair value for the shares, to give our shareholders who may wish to exit a chance to do so, and to provide leadership, both in terms of ideas that you can raise money, you can bring more money into healthcare through a stock market, through raising money from the public, and in terms of being a platform that can show people how it can be done. Because there are many things we've done, and we are the first to do it, but when you're sitting in Eastlands, the country may never get to know. And good ideas that don't go beyond one person have no impact. So we want to have impact, and a partnership with the exchange gives us a much better chance of having impact in terms of thought leadership and financial modeling than would otherwise ever do if we go it alone.
Definitely. And amidst the pandemic, as we close up, we've seen, even in the global arena, the Pfizer's coming up with vaccine, impacting the market hugely. For you coming into, the stock market and hoping to be listed as soon as possible, your projections into the future in terms of your company performance and the overall health financing sector?
The first thing I want to say is post-COVID, everything will be different. Everything, for everyone. And in healthcare, there will be transformation. The first is that there will be a lot more focus on public health, because if there's something COVID has shown people is that in many instances, all you have are public health interventions. Before curative medicine catches up with cures, the front line is public health. So we are looking into the public health space, immunization, wellness, what we can do to keep people healthy and out of hospitals. The second is that technology will play a much bigger role. And we want to be in that space because we are familiar with technology, we've embraced it, we are leveraging it. The third is that the world is focusing a lot more on healthcare. And by taking a central role, we can help other people like us who have ideas and don't have capital to fund those ideas and implement their ideas. Because had we had money earlier, we would probably have grown faster than we did. So by coming on the stock exchange, we'll hopefully provide another first, that if you have your idea, you want to set up a company that is in healthcare, that this is an option that would be available to match ideas with resources for growth.
Definitely, and I wish you all the best in your Ibuka journey and finally the listing bit of it.
Asante sana.
So there we have it. Very rich history, understanding where we are coming from, where we are, and the future. And as Dr. Arias told us, post-COVID, things will not be the same. Actually, COVID has changed a lot, healthcare financing included. And this will be the first company to be listed, hopefully, on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in the healthcare sector, healthcare financing, which is huge. And COVID has revealed that lacuna, that gap that is there that we need to fill and improve on as a country. Well, that's it. This is the Trading Bell. Thank you very much for engaging us. This does not stop here. We continue our engagement on social media. If you have any questions, speak to us and we will respond to you in time. That said, I'm Noakip Kimboy. Have yourself a good time.